Trans TikToker Kelly Cadigan has recently proved that she is very good at multitasking, specifically at making both ends of the political spectrum absolutely hate her.
You know, I'm starting to think I have an act for getting everyone to hate me. Like, I'm quite good at it, honestly.
Kelly Cadigan has a platform of nearly 1 million followers on TikTok, and her recent political pendulum swing has brought even more attention. Kelly's TikTok debut began with just general videos about her experience as a trans woman. Starting in late March, however, there was a sudden shift in her content, and over the next few weeks, she would start posting increasingly conservative takes to the point where she burned a pride flag and rejected the LGBTQ+ community entirely.
The burning of this flag means I'm leaving this cult.
The same community that she's now crawling back to after she realized that the leopards eating people's faces party would in fact eat her face too. Oh my god, who could have predicted such a twist? The crock of shit that Kelly would be spewing for the next 2 months straight was officially kicked over when she posted this video.
And yes, I think we should call this person a woman because they don't deserve any respect.
If you think me not using the correct pronouns for a child unaliver, if that's your main priority, I think you need to get your priorities straight.
So it seems like this is the first time that Kelly received serious criticism from her community, and she clearly took it super well. In this video, she's arguing that she should be allowed to misgender the person responsible for the horrific Nashville tragedy because that person doesn't deserve to have their pronouns respected. The argument seems pretty straightforward. If someone's a bad person, why should I worry about respecting their pronouns? But it's an incredibly shallow way of viewing the broader issue. What you're implying by this is that a person's gender identity is a conditional privilege and it can be stripped from them as a form of punishment. This obviously is a super slippery slope because then the question becomes very subjective as to how bad a trans person has to be before you get the free pass to misgender them. The person Kelly is misgendering, let's be clear, is literal scum scraped off of someone's shoe and forced into a human-shaped Jell-O mold, and I hope they spend the rest of their life making toilet wine. But using their correct pronouns is not about respecting them. It's about your view of gender identity as a whole. But if misgendering murderers is a slippery slope, then Kelly hit the snow like a bobsled in January because she immediately graduated to putting down non-binary people and taking a very hard stance against people transitioning before the age of 18. Even though she got to do that.
So in America, we have this thing called freedom of speech. If I'm walking down the road and someone wants to call me he, him, I might be upset about it, but there's nothing I can do about it because that's people's First Amendment right.
Correct. It is that person's First Amendment right to misgender you, but it is also your First Amendment right to call that person an asshole. God bless America.
No, I've done my entire transition. I've been on HRT. I've had 2 different breast augmentations. I've had the literal surgery. I have female anatomy, or at least the closest thing I can get to female anatomy. If I'm not offended, why does it seem like so many people in the community, particularly the non-binary community, are offended?
Notice the tone of superiority as Kelly rattles off all of her medical procedures. She's gotta make sure that she's out-transing all the other trans folk. Congratulations, Kelly! You had access to incredibly expensive surgical procedures. I present to you the gold medal of the Trans Olympics.
Is it because a lot of you guys, the only transition that's taking place really is your pronouns? Because to me, my transition and who I am is a lot more than my pronouns.
The implication that the transition of a non-binary person is simply an adjustment of grammar ignores the intense body dysphoria and feelings of isolation in our heavily gendered society that many non-binary people experience. In fact, many non-binary people go through gender-affirming surgeries just as invasive as Kelly's.
If you want to call me a conservative, call me a conservative. I believe in protecting children. I believe in not respecting child unalivers, and I believe people that make transitions should go through a lot of therapy and make sure it's right for them before they jump into this. And they should be over the age of 18.
So at this point, it's pretty clear from Kelly's verbiage that her algorithm was sending her down the alt-right pipeline with express shipping. This is only a day or two after her community confronted her, and she's already spouting off right-wing catchphrases like, "Think of the children!" Now, it would literally take me hours to debunk Kelly's entire catalog of half-baked political takes that she posted after dropping that banger, so instead, I'm just gonna give you guys the highlights of Kelly's magical journey of radicalization, and then we're all gonna sit down with some popcorn and enjoy the inevitable, dramatic apology that she posted a week ago.
I'm really tired of being bullied by my own community. I think it's so sad that I've gone to the right and I've felt so welcomed, especially on Twitter. I love Twitter. You know why, guys? Because I can have a conversation on there with people that I don't even agree with all the time, without it being a huge fight.
I'm sorry, but did you just say that you could express an opinion on Twitter and it not turn into a huge fight? Did we download the same app? It's the one with the little blue birdie on it, right? The one where a woman's comment section turned into a war zone because she had the audacity to say that she enjoyed drinking coffee in her garden with her husband? That app, Kelly? I just want to remind you all that this is only 2 days after Kelly first got criticized for misgendering someone. And now she's not just flirting with right-wing ideology, she's getting to second base. It's at this point that a formidable challenger entered the ring, a very well-spoken, non-binary trans activist that goes by the username Nominal Naomi.
Kelly, we need to talk.
Round one, fight!
Naomi invited Kelly to debate her on stream about her budding conservative beliefs, a debate that lasted over 3 hours. I'll have the full stream linked down below, but the highlight of the debate was when Kelly let this stink bomb loose.
Honestly, back then, a lot of Black people participated in the slave trade themselves, so...
Yeah, that doesn't make slavery right. Are you trying to defend slavery?
It was a product of the time, dude.
Are you trying to defend slavery?
Did you not see Matt Walsh's new video on this topic?
I did, and I think that defending slavery is cringe as
defending slavery, but I think we're illogical if we didn't realize that a lot of Black people enjoyed being slaves back when slavery was a thing.
Okay, Kelly, that's enough. Here's a friendly tip for my viewers. If somebody says slavery bad, the first thing that should be coming out of your mouth is certainly not, "Yeah, but." Also, for any of you fortunate enough to not know who Matt Walsh is, he famously said this.
Girls between the ages of like 17 and 24 is when they're technically most fertile.
How you doing? Should you have a seat over in that chair, please?
Kelly very quickly backpedaled on this particular statement because who would have thunk it? People don't really like when a saltine sister says slavery wasn't that bad.
In terms of what I said about race, not only did I phrase it the wrong way and I should have said comfortable instead of enjoyed, I honestly shouldn't have said it at all. Because it wasn't my place. It was something that I read the headline out of in The Atlantic a long time ago, and I didn't really read the article. I think I barely skimmed it, and I should have, because clearly it made me say something that wasn't accurate, and now the internet thinks I'm racist.
Me when I do a little uh-oh spaghetti-o whoops-a-daisy and say that Black people maybe kind of like slavery.
Pick me. Choose me. Love me.
Is cringe contagious? Should I contact my family and tell them I love them before I become infected? I'm sure Kelly would insist that this video was supposed to be ironic, but her intention doesn't really matter, because at that point, her comment section became flooded with conservatives giving her the pat on the head she was fishing for. Condemning your own community is a small price to pay for the adoration of a random TikTok user with a Confederate flag as their profile picture, huh, Kelly? It's at this point that Kelly began her infamous series, It's Day Blank, of being on the right, openly mocking trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney's series, It's Day Blank of Being a Girl.
So it's day 1 of being a conservative. So it's day 3 of being on the right. And today I'm going to be removing my pronouns from all social media. So it's day 4 of being on the right. And today I'm talking about why I'm taking the term cis out of my vocabulary. So it's day 5 of being on the right. And today I want to talk about what is a woman. So it's day 6 of being on the right. And today I want to talk about why the term birthing people is offensive to women. So it's day 11 of being on the right. And today I want to talk about why I'm owning the pick-me status.
This little series crescendoed with the very dramatic video where Kelly went on a lengthy tirade and burned a pride flag.
This flag doesn't stand for equality for everyone. This flag stands for you're gonna agree to what we say, no matter how many times we change the meaning of this flag, and if you don't, you're a bigot. Well, if my own community is gonna call me a bigot, I'm not gonna stand for my community anymore. The burning of this flag means I'm leaving this cult. And from now on, this is the flag I'm standing for. This is my community. Because this country is what gave me the right to transition and be who I am. So this is the flag I'm gonna stand for. America.
All right, let's get this fucking going.
Hey Kelly, if you're gonna try to convince your new super patriotic conservative fan base that you're one of the good ones, maybe don't drag a United States flag all over the ground and step on it. But just as easily as she abandoned her own community for right-wing approval, Kelly flipped like a coin at the Super Bowl again. Her It's Day Blank of Being on the Right series abruptly ended, and she posted that she was actually just a right-leaning centrist. And then she posted saying that she didn't know what she was politically. And then she posted saying that she rejected labels altogether. All within a couple days. Like all disgraced influencers, the lengthy apology videos started popping up soon after. Before we dive in, I just want to preface by saying I am completely in support of rehabilitating people who truly want to unlearn their bigotry and become a better person. I think people like myself, who unfortunately once also identified as conservative, are especially sensitive to Kelly's situation because we can remember a time when the kindness and patience of other people were integral to detangling us from radicalized thinking. That being said, rehabilitation should not be blind acceptance, and the level of harm a person has caused should also be taken into account. In this particular case, Kelly parroted right-wing talking points to a massive audience, and the ease with which she yo-yoed between polarized ideologies undermines any trust we can have in her sincerity.
You know, growing up, I always wanted to be friends with the people who hated me.
Oh, wow. We're getting like a dramatic villain origin story. Oh, you thought I was kidding about the popcorn?
Just because I wanted to be seen as normal so bad. And I almost feel like I kind of never grew up. And even in my 23-year-old self, I still feel like I'm that 15-year-old that's constantly looking for validation through not just cis, biological people, whatever you want to call it, but just through Republicans in general.
I'm impressed. I mean, she's really trying to get that Oscar nomination.
And I think I'm coming out of it because I've just kind of been thinking a lot about the people I talk to on Twitter and the things they say to me, like calling me a trans-identifying male or a man.
So the leopards started eating your face, like everyone told you they would, is what you're saying. You ready to head to the bank and cash that reality check? Everything she's saying might be completely true, but it's not an apology, it's an excuse. You didn't care about the right oppressing trans people until they didn't want you to be their little mascot anymore, and they started oppressing you. And if that's what it takes to redeem Kelly Cadigan, so be it. I'm happy. But it doesn't change the fact that it's pathetic.
I think I'm just starting to see the reality that, like, the people on the right don't actually care about me.
Breaking news! A local woman discovers that the sky is blue.
I felt like I was gonna be like Candace Owens and you know, get my own show on the Daily Wire and be a pick-me and own that title. And it's just all like, for what? even if I did like get major success, it would all just be so fake and full of hate, and I just don't know how I got here.
Well, actually, Kelly, because you so carefully documented every single random politically charged thought that you've had over the past 2 months publicly on TikTok, it's very easy to see how you got here. I think this first apology video would get like a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's pretty self-centered and performative, but you know what, Kelly? Give it another shot.
I don't want to come on here and cry. Like, I want to be just real. I'm sorry to Dylan Mulvaney for taking your days of girlhood shtick and using it for my own conservative grift. I'm sorry to the Black community for what I said about slavery. I shouldn't have said that. And to non-binary people, I'm sorry I said your identities aren't valid.
Okay, this is a good start. She's listed out specific communities and people to apologize to directly.
So I actually just came to Target because I was gonna pick up a new pride flag because I wanted to prove to you guys that I do support this community and I do want to change.
Oh, awesome! Regaining the trust of a community that you completely sold out for the low, low price of $10. Call now and we'll double your order.
I'm not gonna be like the bigots on the right and tell you that I need to understand you to accept you, because I don't.
Guys, I'm not like those crazy bigots on the right. Aren't you a crazy bigot on the right, though? Oh, come on. That is so last week me. First off, just gonna say, as someone who could easily camouflage themselves inside of a hospital, not my place to accept her apology to the Black community, so I can only extend the olive branch so far. Aside from that, here are my thoughts. As usual, take them or leave them. I have massive concerns about Kelly's motivations. Why did she go to the right? Because people on TikTok were mean to her. Why did she go back to the left? Because people on Twitter were mean to her. How do we know that some overzealous 14-year-old with blue hair won't call her out on something and she'll get upset and go running back to the conservatives again? I think what we're seeing is somebody whose sense of self-worth is so closely tied to social media that their identity has corroded into just mirroring the opinions of whoever is giving them the most likes. We really need to bring back journaling. Instead of screaming every random thought you have on a virtual megaphone, take a second, write it out, let it marinate in the cranium for a little bit, and then you can declare your potentially incredibly dangerous opinions to 1 million people. I would actually highly advise Kelly to immediately get off of social media, at least for her mental health. Most recently, she's been crying because Blair White blocked her on Twitter, which tells me that instead of actually rejecting the political party that denies her womanhood, she sees the right as like an estranged lover. I think it's gonna take a lot more from Kelly than recording a few monologues in her car to prove that she's sincere, and I'm not the only one who thinks that.
There's genuinely nothing that gets under my skin more than when bigots try to rebrand themselves without actually doing any work or having any kind of internal shit.
It's gonna take a hell of a lot more than you posting TikTok videos and tweets about your newfound revelation to undo the harm you actively caused within our community.
The amount of damage that you did just because you wanted to be a pick-me.
My conclusion is that we can't really know if Kelly's apology is truthful until we see what she does over the next few months. I welcome her to educate herself. In fact, I highly encourage it, and I don't really have any hostility towards her. She just has a lot of work to do. I would absolutely love to hear y'all's take on the situation. Making this video was a lot like trying to cut soup with a knife. Just really messy. But I think it's important to discuss Kelly and her situation, because she is certainly not going to be the last person to try to play Red Rover with political parties. And with that, let's flip a coin. Tails. Well, guess I'm a conservative now.